It involved whitewater river rafting, cliff climbing, sword fighting, magic, and was just flat out one of the best times Steve had ever had in his life. What an incredible adventure. Larry, being the sane one of the pair, chose a more conservative route. He played a game held south of Los Angeles. In his hours of play, he never quite won, but did manage to stop the villain's nefarious plans. The IFGS flew us to their Denver convention a couple of times. At the second one, the manuscript for the sequel to Dream Park, the Barsoom Project, was auctioned, with the profits to go to charity. When the final price exceeded $1,000, Steve was completely overwhelmed and used up a good supply of tissues. Softy. A third Dream Park novel, The California Voodoo Game, was published a few years later, and then nothing for almost 20 years. Larry and Steve collaborated on other successful projects, but the odd balance of science fiction, the technology used to create the game, fantasy, the framework of the game itself, and murder mystery, the problem that triggered Dream Park's security personnel and sent Alex Griffin into the game, lay fallow for 2 decades. Until now. As we write these words, the authors are more than halfway through the new Dream Park novel, The Moon Maze Game. It is just too much fun to revisit these ideas and even to have guest appearances by some of the original characters, although this new book takes place decades after the first 3. But it is appropriate to look back at the beginning, to appreciate the first book, the one that started a series and a movement. The IFGS survives to this day, and share our memories. If you, the reader, get half as much fun from reading this as we had in writing it, you're in for a hell of a good time. Dream Park, published in about 10 languages and endless editions, was lightning in a bottle. We wouldn't have missed it for anything. And now, you don't have to either. Part 1. Chapter 1. Arrivals. The train sat rigid as a steel bar, poised in midair above its magnetic monorail track, disgorging passengers into Dallas Station. Its 15 cars had borne their passengers in quiet efficiency from New York to Dallas in just over half an hour, cradled in magnetic fields, traveling through vacuum at close to orbital velocity, deep underground. Chester had cut it close. He shifted his heavy backpack and strode back along the train, walking like a king, projecting confidence. There would be gamers aboard, and some would recognize him. Lore Master Chester Henderson was conscious of his unseen audience. "Chester!" He stopped, dismayed. He knew that voice. There she was, a vision in leopard tights that drew stares from all but the most jaded. Her long red hair, plaited into a thick rope, dangled down her back to the top of her belt line. She wore heavy makeup that almost hid the fact that she was indeed a very lovely woman, but the leotards hid nothing. "Hello, Gina," Chester sighed with a tone somewhere south of resignation. "I should have guessed you'd be along." "I wouldn't miss it for anything. Remember last time when you saved me from the mammoth?" "Cost me 3 points for frostbite. I remember." "Don't complain, it's mean. Anyway, I was very appreciative." She coiled her arm around him and joined him in a rather strained lockstep toward the Dream Park shuttle. She had been, he remembered, very appreciative. "One of your strong points," he said, and put his arm around her. It felt disturbingly good, nestled there between warm curves. "Well, I'm glad you're with us. We may need to pass you off as a virgin or something." "Would you really?" she giggled. "I've always loved your imagination." Chester didn't smile. "But Gina, if you're in, you're going to have to follow orders a mite more carefully. You almost screwed me good. Stop that, I'm serious. This is extremely important to me, all right?" Gina looked up.